Rajdeep Sardesai is also now joining us. Rajdeep, was this expected? Did you see this coming? And what next as far as the larger scheme of things for Nitish Kumar is concerned, given that 2024 is not too far away?
You know, this is a tough question to answer, Sneha, because with Nitish Kumar, you never know what he does next. I think it's been building up for a while in terms of the growing differences between the BJP and the JDU. And really, it's been building up since 2020 November when Nitish Kumar became Chief Minister, but his party had far fewer seats than the BJP. So it was clear that the power dynamics had changed. And clearly over these last 20 months, the BJP has been growing, some would say at Nitish's expense. The party has been expanding its footprints deep into Bihar and trying over this period to slowly but surely capture Nitish Kumar's caste base, especially among the extremely backward castes. And we saw Nitish's reaction in the last 6 weeks. He has failed to attend a series of major functions, including the Niti Aayog meeting of chief ministers on Sunday. So clearly Nitish Kumar was signaling to the BJP leadership that he was unhappy. But as I said, with Nitish Kumar, you never know, because he's made now so many U-turns, at times claiming to stand for anti-corruption and taking on a Lalu Prasad, at other times claiming that he stands against the communal RSS, as he calls it, and he's taken on Mr. Modi in the past. So with Nitish Kumar, you're never certain till it actually happens. But yes, in the last 48 hours, it was increasingly looking likely that Nitish was looking at Plan B, and his Plan B is clear. It is to tie up with the RJD and the Congress. Look, I think the larger picture, Sneha, somewhere is that Bihar, in my view, remains the last state where the battle of Mandal and Kamandal is still being fought. If you look at neighboring UP, the BJP has dominated UP now for the last decade, winning election after election. But in Bihar, as we saw in 2015, the BJP was defeated by the Nitish Lalu combined, and in 2020 also, RJD emerged as the single largest party. So Bihar is one of the last states where the BJP cannot claim to have got the only Hindi heartland state, in fact, where the BJP has never got a majority of its own. So therefore, there is a large anti-BJP space. And Nitish Kumar is now attempting to use it again to ensure his political survival, even if it means tying up with his one-time friend turned foe turned friend turned foe called Lalu Yadav. So look, Nitish Kumar's U-turns mean, in my view, he's greatly diminished as a politician. This is not the challenger to Modi that we saw in 2013, but a politician looking for political survival. And I think the move that he's made is purely about survival. And if there was any trigger for it, Sneha, it was possibly what happened in Maharashtra. I think with the BJP breaking the Shiv Sena, forming a government in Maharashtra, Nitish may have feared that it could well be his turn next. And he decided to preempt any possible BJP move to bring down his government. And that perhaps is the only explanation one has for the timing of what Nitish Kumar has done. You put it well that 2024 is not too long away. Possibly this alliance will last till then. But I think it will have greater resonance in a state election, Nitish plus Lalu, than it will have in a national election where they will have to deal with the Modi factor and elections become much more presidential.
You know, also, Rajdeep, this alliance, once again, I mean, if at all there is going to be an alliance now, Mahagathbandhan 2.0, what does this really mean for the RJD, given that Lalu Prasad is really out of the picture? It's pretty much Tejasvi Yadav running the show. This time around, the RJD also gets a lot of elbow room in terms of what they ask from Nitish Kumar, the kind of bargaining power that they will enjoy, given that Nitish's future now solely depends on support from the Congress and the RJD and the left.
Absolutely, and a very good point there. The fact is, again, just as the power dynamics change between Nitish Kumar and the BJP post the 2020 Bihar verdict, they will now change between Nitish Kumar, RJD and the Congress, particularly with the RJD. RJD is the single largest party in the Bihar Assembly. We are told that they are demanding the Home Ministry and the Speakership. Nitish Kumar will be reluctant to give up the Home Ministry certainly, but the RJD could well get its own speaker, and you're right, the RJD will try and dictate terms to whatever extent possible. Look, for the RJD, this is like bonus. You know, a bit like what happened with the NCP in Maharashtra. When Uddhav Thackeray tied up with Sharad Pawar's NCP, for Sharad Pawar, it gave him another lease of life even as at the age of 80. Similarly, for Lalu, who's been maintaining ill health, has been in and out of jail in the fodder scam case, this gives him at least another stab at power sharing. And yes, while Tejasvi will be the face, make no mistake, Lalu will be the politician who will be looking at the situation unfolding very closely. For Tejasvi Yadav, it's an opportunity in a way to prove himself in government, in governance. But these alliances, often short-term opportunistic alliances, have a limited shelf life. My own view is the politics of for Nitish and Lalu is subject now to the diminishing returns. Nitish has been Chief Minister of Bihar for most of the last 17 years, will be sworn in for an 8th time, a national record. But I think that his vote base is gradually eroding, and Lalu Prasad or Tejasvi have not been really able to grow their vote base either. So actually what you are seeing in Bihar, I believe, is a transitional phase. A political vacuum is there. The BJP hopes to exploit it. And interestingly, the likes of Prashant Kishore, the political analyst who plans a Padayatra from October, will also be trying to sort of suggest new options for Bihar. I believe that eventually the Nitish Lalu era is slowly but surely coming to an end. So I don't see them sustaining for an extended period. So I really believe that this is possibly Nitish's last shot at political survival.